I don't think Dr. Sahasrabudhe needs any introduction. Just to sum it up, he leads the technological push of not just the government of India itself. Technological innovation, really strategizing our technology policy. So I would like to ask you, what are the most exciting technological innovations you have encountered recently?
I think the technological innovations have started maybe from 70s, 80s themselves, right from mobile phone, internet, which came in, and today we are all talking about ChatGPT. I think technology is absolutely changing rapidly at an accelerated pace, and that's why each one of them have their own significance and how quickly we adopt to them. You know, technologies which were mundane, they took long time for adoption. Wherever there was a very clear-cut indication that it is very useful, it will reduce the work, it will make life easier, those technologies were adopted much quicker. And when there is a benefit which is very clearly visible, you don't have to advertise for that. You know, it already captures the essence of that.
True. One of the biggest fears which people express is that human beings who created technology, they became technology is controlling them instead of people controlling them. How far do you think this is practically correct, more than theoretically correct? And if so, do you have a way to kind of de-educate people on how to control this?
I think in the last session also there were talk about artificial intelligence, how it is taking over. Chris also talked about inserting what we call nano bots into the brain, and then it will all have control over us. But ultimately, in the last session again, there were several C's talked about. You know, one of them is not only character building, but also collaboration and how we make use of all the technologies for the effective use of not only to ourselves, our society, nation, and the planet at large, you know, including what we call today green technologies and all that.
So one of the points which I read about your mandate, the mandate of your institution, is to strategize areas where you need technological innovation and technological push. What are the strategic areas you've zeroed in on?
So we have seen that there has been infusion of technology in education in a big way, starting from the chalk and talk type of a classroom to using what we call using internet in the classroom. We have tablets, we have laptops which have come, smartphones which have come. But however, the content is very, very important, what we are delivering through all those technologies. And that's why in the future, there is a possibility of having a meeting ground of not only universities, educators, startup companies, who can create an excellent technology content. Today we talk about augmented reality, virtual reality. How do we explain a phenomenon instead of simply a figure or a picture or writing the equations, actually delve into it, actually swim into it. And that's what is possible. So
you're talking about the metaverse you're talking about.
Yeah, metaverse. So how can we include that as a part of the curriculum? How do we get those companies who are creating an excellent content, making it very easy to understand, enjoyable?
That's a very, very exciting, the metaverse is a very, very exciting area. But how much of it has really been applied in India? Because I read about one of the metaverse classes by the Harvard Medical School, where the student actually enters the human body, and he actually sees the heart, and you can enlarge or reduce the size of the heart in proportion to him in the metaverse. Now, which is a fascinating way to learn, medicine. Are we looking at that kind of innovations? Are we putting them in place? How do we translate them at a larger educational level institutionally?
Yeah, in fact, that is what is being done. You must be aware of EPM Vidya, the platform where a lot of such content is being developed by developers, and which will become the order of the day right from school education to higher education. You rightly said about the human body. Medical students, unless you dissect, you will not see what is inside. But here you are actually going into it and then seeing how heart functions, where the valves, where they are located, how arteries and veins function. I think similar to that, even in technology domain, whether it is internal combustion engine or whether it is a rocket engine, how do they actually perform, how gas turbines work. All of that can be very easily simulated in terms of augmented reality, virtual reality, making it very easy to learn. Learning to learn becomes much easier through these kind of technologies.
But isn't it, I mean, even in the West, where technologically education is more advanced than the developing world, how prepared are we to kind of actually apply augmented reality to in the education sphere?
I think we are tech-savvy people. In fact, in the previous session and since morning we have been hearing, if you look at the digital technologies, with 140 crore odd population, more than 135 crores are having Aadhaar card. The number of users on UPI payment gateways is 40% of the entire cash transactions have gone away, and 40% of them are using digital transaction. So right from some sabji vendor in a rural area to high-tech areas, we have been adopting technology very fast. And that's why it's not very difficult for infusing these technologies in our education. The trouble is in terms of the cost. See, many of these devices, they're quite expensive. How we can innovate and bring down the cost? And there have been many of these applications where on a normal phone, not even smartphone, how can we bring it onto that? These are the innovations which will really lead to use of these technologies in our education much easier, because we always talk about access, equity, affordability, quality. That is what we need to introduce.
So, like the technology innovations you are pushing, how much of it comes from young brains, number one, and number two, technology tomorrow. I mean, we all live with technology. I mean, it's a cliche to even look at technology as something esoteric. How much of employability is part of technological planning or technological policy when it comes to our emerging youth who are looking forward to getting jobs?
So technology is going to cover all domains. In fact, first time when computerization started, people were thinking that there is going to be losing of jobs. But nothing like that happened. It came in banks, it came in insurance companies, it came in travel. In fact, it has made the business much easier to be performed. And same is the case in terms of all the new variety of technologies which are coming in. It is adaptability of that, making use of it effectively for the good of all. It is not for self, but also for the society. Those who are not having this kind of possible facility, how do we provide them? These are the things which we may have to do.
So what is it? See, you have some of the best technological brains are Indian, Silicon Valley. Excuse me, I have the bad cough. If we are able to give enough opportunities for our technologically trained youngsters to work in India, to contribute to the Indian economy, there wouldn't be this technological brain drain where you get more money or more facilities or better kind of lifestyle. How do you have a plan, let's say 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 5-year plan, to reverse this brain drain or stop this brain drain so you get jobs which are more attractive, which are more paying, which actually retain our youngsters instead of them wanting to kind of work in Silicon Valley?
In fact, if you look at the statistics, compared to about 2 decades ago, number of students even going abroad for jobs has reduced substantially. Some of them certainly go out for higher education, but not for jobs. Many opportunities are opening up within the country. And in the last question, like you said, how are our younger generation going to be involved in all of this? There have been huge number of new products created by startups. Those who are still in the education, they are maybe in the second year of engineering, second year of science graduation. They are creating products which are useful for education purpose. EduTech companies are starting from
Give me some interesting examples.
There have been wonderful, AI-based learning. You want to learn a language. Why can't we have a tool or an app through which you will be in a position to learn different languages by being at home, just at the click of the button? Similarly, you want to learn, say, a language like Python. So there have been tools which have been developed from an IIT Madras graduating company, which is called GUVI, and they trained more than 1 lakh students in 24 hours in writing computer code for Python. So there are a variety of such possible products which have emanated from technical institutions, from young guys. And it's not from technical institutions alone. There have been also from some students from commerce, economics. They have also brought out products in association. We talked about several C's. Collaboration is one important thing which has been happening amongst the youth, and they have been able to create such products.
See, one problem which one has been hearing for years and years is the unequal psychological effect on students coming from rural areas or small towns. Students who are not as conversant with English as some other students are. So there is, I mean, so many cases you read about, know about that, they feel slightly inferior or they feel slightly shy. But technology is the only area which is a leveler. It's an equalizer. Whether you're coming from an urban family or coming from a poor family, it doesn't matter. All matters is your skill to write code or to kind of come up with an innovation. So in a way, there is a socio-political aspect of technology, especially which is very, very relevant in India. Is it something which could be enacted as a policy with a regular framework, which you can, I don't know, through channels of skilling or channels of working, employment-oriented. Have you ever thought about planning like that?
See, there is a future, but there is a past as well. If you look at starting point of what we called NPTEL lectures in the beginning, then we have this Swayam platform. There are Swayam Prabha 33 channels which have been continuously providing educational content to all the students right from 9th, 10th grade till the higher education. Now, we are talking about increasing this to 260 channels. And just not in English or Hindi, but in all the Indian languages. In all Indian 22 languages, when the content is going to be delivered, be it from a village or be it from a tribal area, I think we will be in a position to take care of providing the content of high quality in their own language. And then the confidence building will happen in the minds of those students who are coming from very poor and rural background.
So what are the most exciting technological, I wouldn't say events, technological trends which you see happening in the next 10 years?
See, we have talked about AI. AI is going to be one of the finest things which is going to happen. But along with that, we need to build character. And therefore, last session also, we talked about life skills. And they are going to be very, very important. How technology can bring in life skills?
How?
It's going to be a big challenge. And therefore, we must showcase some of the best examples of people, story of Mahabharata, Ramayana, which was said. How do we animate it and showcase whereby the life skills are going to be earned?
So how do you marry the Ramayana or the Mahabharata with technology? How do you do that?
There are stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, which will give you values, ethics, morals, integrity, and they can be brought in the form of excellent stories which are simulated, and people will participate in them. And firsthand, they will realize, if I don't do what we want to do, for example, what Mahatma Gandhi also said, that you step in the shoes of that person about whom the decision is going to be taken by you. So that prospect we can bring in using technology as well as the ancient traditional knowledge.
So how much of ancient additional knowledge can be applied? I'm talking about technological thing, like when you read epics, you hear about various technology, which is whether it be aeronautics, whether it be weaponry oriented. How much of it can be really translated into a current technological vocabulary, which is easily understood in technological terms, not in ethics?
See, I'm just giving a hypothetical example. We all know about Asimov. He said that there will be transactions through credit cards. No one imagined that would be possible. Similarly, in the past, we said that a man will land on the moon and also probably in Mars. No one believed at that time. It all happened. So in the Mahabharata, when Sanjay was telling the story to Dhritarashtra by sitting in the palace, what is happening in the, in the war field, which was away, That means even if it is an imaginative one, will it not give clue to something which is possible, and we try to implement that. That is one part. And in realistic terms, there were certainly some technologies which were available in ancient times, and India is mother to not only democracy, but art, craft, design, manufacturing, as well as science, maths. It all emanated from here. Unless we tell all these stories to our youngsters, how do they become confident about doing something new in our lives? And that is why all of these technologies have to be embedded, including the Indian knowledge systems and traditional knowledge systems.
Okay, I mean, you are part of the intellectual brain trust of the administration. You know, the Prime Minister is, I think we're the first Prime Minister who's really into technology. I mean, he's very tech savvy, and he's always, you know, using innovative means to push technology. In your interactions or your knowledge, what is the technology that excites Mr. Modi the most?
For whom?
The Prime Minister.
For him, technology is the one which is going
to be driving. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Especially digital technologies. Because digital is the only one which will be creating the level playing field between all those who are from remote areas to the advanced areas, whether it is from cities, whether it is from English educated or those who are learning in their own mother tongue, in their own languages. They can all be on the same level only through the means of using digital technologies. And that's what Prime Minister is often talking about, Digital India. We started in 2015. Now we are talking about a digital university in the hub and spoke model form, where education will come to your home, to your doorsteps. You don't have to step out, go into a city, live there, a lot of expenditure, not only on fees, but also living expenditure, hostel, mess. You can be at home and get the same level of degree as that of one of the finest institutions in the country. This is what Prime Minister is all thinking about.
So if I would sum it up by saying that one of the biggest achievements of this government, non-political of course, is to digitize India, to bring technology to the grassroots. How much more has to be done, or how much has been done?
Sky is the limit. Now we have said that 40% of the transactions are happening today in digital mode. Why not 100%? Why not? Why gross enrollment ratio is only 27%? We are imagining that through national education policy, the next 15 years, we will reach to 50%. Why not 100%? So I think sky is the limit, and digital technologies are the way forward in order to create interesting content, reach out to all the nooks and corners. We have already rolled out indigenous 5G. And if it reaches to all the 600 lakh villages, I think we have done it.
One problem, I think we're running out of time. Oh no, so nobody's. So one problem which has been often raised is that the level of a technical education is not good enough for employability. I mean, this is what I read. I mean, I don't have any particular proof of that, but I mean, what I read or what I can learn from reports and all that, that we produce so many engineers, but their employability is not, is not great in the. So, I mean, in a way, the future of our technological policy lies in your hands. So, how would you leverage technology vis-a-vis employability?
See, most important thing why employability is poor is our educational institutions deliver a lot of theoretical content, much less practical content. It is not just laboratory content. There may be laboratories in science, physics or in chemistry, biology, or in engineering or...
what about resources, allocation of resources?
But most important part is how do they actually experience the real life situation. That is internships, apprenticeship. And this was very poor in our country, except domains like medical science, where mandatory housemanship is required before getting a degree. In all other forms of education, we didn't have it. We have this 3-year or 4-year or 5-year program, graduate, and then start working, and that's why industry says they are not employable or they don't know many things. So internships and apprenticeships provide this opportunity to have real life situations and how to handle that. And once that happens, I think employability will automatically come.
When is it going to happen in your view?
It has already been started, out
what
of
scale?
the whole country, 1.3 crore plus students are registered on a national platform called Internship Portal. 26 lakh students out of them were given internship in the last 1.5 years. So I think that is the way forward. So unless we connect students with the industry, get hands-on experience, outside experience. It's not necessarily when we say internship in an industry, it can be a startup, it can be a small-scale industry, it can be a large industry. It could also be working with NGOs, it could be also working in society along with people who are in villages and try to understand the challenges and problems and try to solve them.
But technology is evolving very fast. I mean, it's something which is so quick that you don't even know what's happening, what's already happened, it's already gone ahead. So how much of that forward planning using AI or, experts do you apply in terms of, employability?
So Ravi, most important part is making our students prepared for learning to learn. Because things are going to change so rapidly that by the time one graduates, probably what all you learned becomes outdated, and therefore you will have to probably learn. And whatever you got a paper degree, which is also in digital form today in the academic bank of credits, not good enough. Maybe every 1 year, 2 years, you must go back to the school and then learn what is new happening there. And that's very important. Like all drugs have an expiry date, maybe we'll have to put an expiry date on our degrees. And if you don't have what you say as learning more things, what are happening in that field, your degree is invalidated.
Okay, I think we are running out of time. I have time for 2 questions. Does anybody have questions? All right, that gentleman there.
Hello. So, thank you for the speech, sir. So, you talked about internships and apprenticeship, right? And a lot of courses have mandated that internships and apprenticeships are compulsory for them, including law, engineering, even MBA. So, a lot of companies use these platforms as a way to exploit interns. Plus, since they're not regulated per se, so how can the government or any regulation commission help students and future employees in this particular ordeal?
See, in fact, apprenticeship is already regulated. Don't worry about that. But as far as internships are concerned, these internships which are onboarded on the platforms like what AICT did in an internship platform, they are all free. There is no exploitation. There is no place for that. Maybe some of the industries do give stipend for doing those activities. Some of them do not give. But certainly they will not charge and will not be in a position to exploit. That is taken care of by the regulatory bodies.
Okay, so that's been a fantastic talk, and I hope we'll be able to interact more at a later stage. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.